It's been a rough few years for Alex Jones, the conspiracy theorist who flew a little too close to the sun. And it looks like things are only going to get worse for him. What a shame. Surely at this point, we don't need to recap the entire Alex Jones saga, but basically, one of the lies, the many lies that he built his vast, lucrative empire upon was in the wake of Sandy Hook, one of our nation's most deadly mass shootings, when he told his massive audience that the parents grieving their murdered 6-year-olds were actually actors. And also, the 6-year-olds were actors. And it was all faked by the government, so that they would have an excuse to take everyone's guns away.
And it worked, right? All the guns disappeared
12
immediately.
years later, no one's got any guns. Now, many of these parents then spent the next decade not only processing the senseless tragedy that had upended their lives, but also enduring constant threats and harassment from Alex Jones's idiot fan base.
In the meantime, Alex Jones's fame and influence increased significantly thanks to Donald Trump and the MAGA movement. And he was doing quite well for a while. But then the Sandy Hook parents started suing. And in multiple separate defamation cases, Alex Jones was found liable and fined large sums of money. And in the end, the total added up to over $1 billion. With damages that high, the plaintiffs rarely, ever even see a fraction of what they're owed. But it does still have the potential to completely financially ruin the person who owes them the money, especially when they're a high-profile person like Alex Jones. You might not be able to pay everything you owe, but the courts are definitely going to try to squeeze everything that they can out of you, especially once you declare bankruptcy.
So, when these verdicts started coming in 2 years ago, the sense was that this would eventually lead to the end of InfoWars as a company. It might take some time, but it would happen. And this week on InfoWars, Alex Jones certainly gave off the impression that the end was nigh, sobbing on camera like a bitch, saying that the federal government was about to shut down his company.
No, please!
Now, plenty of people, of course, got excited by this news. The more keen observers of Alex Jones suggested that he was just putting on a show, as usual, trying to squeeze more money out of his gullible audience. And yeah, it was definitely hard to tell in the footage whether this was Alex Jones actually crying or Alex Jones pretending to cry, though then again, he's been playing this character for so long that it might not be a thing where one starts and the other ends.
Yeah.
That's just who he is now.
Mm-hmm.
But meanwhile, various allies of Jones, they framed the story as not just 100% real, but also yet another case of Joe Biden's DOJ taking out the enemies of the president, just like that Trump trial in New York.
And his son's gun trial.
Even though neither the Jones case nor the Trump case has anything to do with the federal government.
Yeah,
pretty much all at the state and local level.
Yeah, but
DOJ, no fingerprints on any of this, but they're the ones who did it.
You could see how it could happen, though.
Yeah.
And that's the real scary part.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, it sounds like it actually really is the end for Alex Jones's broadcasting career. Here's NPR. Alex Jones, who spread lies about the 2012 shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary that killed 26 first graders and staffers, has dropped efforts to declare bankruptcy and agreed to liquidate his assets in order to finally start paying the nearly $1.5 billion in damages he owes the victims' families. The relatives of the Sandy Hook victims won their defamation suits against Jones in 2021, but they have yet to see a penny since Jones and his media company filed for bankruptcy protection in 2022. Chris Mattei, an attorney representing some of the Sandy Hook families, said Jones is on the brink of justice, and the victims' relatives are determined to keep him accountable. The Connecticut families have fought for years to hold him responsible, no matter the cost and at great personal peril. Their steadfast focus on meaningful accountability, and not just money, is what has now brought him to the brink of justice in the way that matters most, Mattei said in a statement.
That might change now that Jones requested to convert his bankruptcy into a liquidation. The request comes after the victims' families had asked a bankruptcy judge in Texas to liquidate Jones's media empire and InfoWars' parent company, Free Speech Systems. Liquidating will not be nearly enough to cover the amount owed to the families, but it will likely force Jones to forego ownership of his alt-right outlet, InfoWars, where he spewed false conspiracy theories for 25 years. Damn, couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. And here's NBC News. Right-wing conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, facing a massive debt owed in defamation judgments for lies he spread about the 2012 Sandy Hook school shooting, told his InfoWars listeners on Friday that he has no assets other than money he can make from selling nutritional supplements and continuing to broadcast. The products, quote, are worthless if I don't promote them. Our listeners will never buy them from you if I'm gone, no matter how much they love them, Jones said. And the rest of the story is I will not sell out or be compromised to stay on the air here and be a puppet. Jones lashed out at various institutions, the FBI, the CIA, the Democratic Party, and the news media, as he claimed he was being unfairly attacked and was being shut down and silenced.
No, these are the consequences for your inhumane actions.
None of those groups were involved. You lied about people. They sued you for defamation, and you were found guilty. And
that's putting it lightly. These people suffered. They suffered the loss of their family members. They suffered torture at the hands of Jones's listeners. It was a horrific scenario.
They had to live in fear constantly. If anyone is really to blame here, it's yourself. Not just for saying the lies in the first place, but for being a fucking idiot throughout the legal process, where I think in at least one of these cases, he just refused to show up.
Yeah.
So it was a summary judgment. It's a similar strategy we've seen Rudy Giuliani use, where it's just like, I'll be completely uncooperative, and that will totally work out. And when you do that, turns out, actually, the court just assumes you're worth a ton of money and are also guilty. So
yeah, we have no idea. So you didn't show up. Gotta keep things moving.
Yeah. So maybe that's who's more responsible than the CIA. Shut up.
Mm-hmm. So I guess we'll see in the coming weeks and months what exactly happens with Alex Jones and InfoWars. Usually, we'd expect some big conservative donor to step in and bail Alex Jones out with some wingnut welfare, but his brand might be too radioactive for that kind of thing. And also, any money he gets could just get seized by the bankruptcy courts. Also, it's a high enough amount of money that it's really fucking hard.
It's a lot of money.
Yes. You can't just be like, it's so funny. Even like a outrageous amount of money for a donation, a insane amount of money, like $1 million is nothing.
Yeah, this is 1,000 or 1,500 millions that he owes.
Maybe someone steps in to buy the company but keeps Alex Jones around. I don't know. Wasn't that how Drama Alert and Keemstar worked?
I mean, I don't know.
Maybe the company just goes out of business. We'll have to see. But moving on, we have another story about whales.
It's whale time, baby.
It's summertime.
Let everyone do your favorite whale song. Yeah, love that
Sun's
song.
out.
Whales out.
Fins out.
Yeah.
Anyways, this week it's not orcas attacking boats. It's a throwback to one of our favorite weird news stories from long before this show even existed, or before either of us were even born. But it holds a special place in my heart. It is one of my favorite old school.
It's widely believed to be like the first viral news clip.
Yeah.
Before we knew what viral was outside of epidemiology. So back in 1970, up on the Oregon coast, a dead whale washed ashore in the town of Florence, and rather than cut it up and or bury it, local authorities, they had other ideas. They had the brilliant idea to simply blow it the fuck up.
America!
Boom. What could go wrong? So the original news broadcast from Portland station KATU showing how this all went down. It's incredible. Links down below. But also they released a remastered version of a few years back on YouTube, and we have a strong feeling that Sinclair Broadcasting, who now own the channel, would probably copyright claim the shit out of this video if we showed it. So that puts us in a tough spot.
It's the cadence of that video hits me the same way like a classic piece of music does, like Beethoven or Bach. I can hear the cadence without even seeing or hearing the video.
Describing absurd events like
a
true professional.
So dynamite it was.
So yeah, instead, let's just read from the transcript of what ace reporter Paul Lindman said during the segment over some stills from the segment.
I'll try to do my best recollection of the voice just off the top of my head, having not heard it in a couple months at least. It had to be said, the Oregon State Highway Division not only had a whale of a problem on its hands, it had a stinking whale of a problem. What to do with one 45-foot, 8-ton whale dead on arrival on a beach near Florence? It had been so long since a whale had washed up in Lane County, nobody could remember how to get rid of one. In selecting its battle plan, the Highway Division decided the carcass couldn't be buried because it might soon be uncovered, it couldn't be cut up and then buried because nobody wanted to cut it up, and it couldn't be burned. So, dynamite it was, some 20 cases or a half ton of it.
Perfect. You nailed it.
I think so. I think I got the cadence pretty good. And I swear I haven't seen the video in a long time.
I listened to it today. You did it perfectly.
The hope was that the long-dead Pacific gray whale would be almost disintegrated by the blast, and that any small pieces still around after the explosion would be taken care of by seagulls and other scavengers. Indeed, the seagulls had been standing nearby all day, just licking their lips.
Blow it up. Do it. Do it. It continues. As everything was being made ready, we asked George Thornton, the highway engineer in charge of the project, for his final observations. Well, I'm confident that it'll work. The only thing we're not sure just exactly how much explosives it'll take to disintegrate this thing. So the scavengers, seagulls, and crabs and whatnot can clean it up. The dynamite was buried primarily on the leeward side of the big mammal, so as most of the remains would be blown towards the sea. About 75 bystanders, most of them residents who had first found the whale to be an object of curiosity before they tired of its smell, were moved back a quarter of a mile away. The sand dunes there were covered with spectators and landlubber newsmen, shortly to become land blubber newsmen. For the blast blasted blubber beyond all believable bounds.
You know, it is funny, even this far back.
Local journalism used to be so good.
And it's funny because this might be where it began for me, because I do this kind of like weird alliteration shit.
It's great. It's fun to say.
Yeah, it is fun. Maybe that's where I got it from. I don't know. And yeah, at this point they show the explosion and it's fucking massive.
It's so big.
It's outrageous. The camera gradually zooms out to reveal that the whale guts are just raining down everywhere.
It's like a moment of like, woo! And then like, oh, shit.
We might die right now.
Oh, no, we gotta get to cover.
Yeah, it continues. Our camera stopped rolling immediately after the blast. The humor of the entire situation suddenly gave way to a run for survival as huge chunks of whale blubber fell everywhere. Pieces of meat passed high over our heads while others were falling at our feet. The dunes were rapidly evacuated as spectators escaped both the falling debris and the overwhelming smell. A parked car over a quarter of a mile from the blast site was the target of one large chunk. The passenger compartment literally smashed. Fortunately, no human was hit as badly as the car. However, everyone on the scene was covered with small particles of dead whale. As for the success of the effort, well, the seagulls who were supposed to clean things up were nowhere in sight, either scared away by the explosion or kept away by the smell. That didn't really matter. The remaining chunks were of such a size that no respectable seagull would attempt to tackle anyway. As darkness began to set in, the highway crews were back on the beach burying the remains, including a large piece of the carcass which never left the blast site. It might be concluded that should a whale ever wash ashore in Lane County again, those in charge will not only remember what to do, they'll certainly remember what not to do.
Perfect.
This was their 9/11.
It was.
Never forget. Never let it happen again.
9/11 without the casualties and the sadness. It's just for the people of Lane County, this must have been the most exciting thing to happen. They were probably telling stories about it for years.
They did the remaster thing they did, but they also revisited, like, they spoke with the journalists and stuff.
Oh, he's still around.
Like,
Damn.
This was like 20 or 30 years after it happened.
Okay.
Not like really recently, but it was interesting.
Yeah, this was 54 years ago.
I can't remember. I feel like they put a plaque up, but
They should.
if they didn't, they'd absolutely should.
It's an important moment in American
It's
history.
a cultural icon, that way.
Yeah. And especially Oregon history.
Yes.
Not a lot of history from up there.
Usually just battles between the government and random homesteads.
Or Antifa versus, like, Nazis.
Yeah.
Interesting place. So anyway, we're not just bringing this old story up because we'll never pass up an opportunity to do so.
We did it at our live show in Texas.
Yeah, I love this so much. So this past week, a dead whale washed ashore in Oregon.
Oh, not again!
And on social media, fans of the exploding whale incident, we are legion, there are dozens of us, immediately got excited about the potential for yet another exploding whale, which gradually, through a game of telephone, snowballed into a rumor that they actually were going to do it again. And this then forced the authorities to make official statements asserting that they would not be blowing up any whales with any half tons of dynamite.
No, fuck it. Like, dude, obviously, I mean, it's not that rare, but when it washes up on an Oregon coast and you have that history, it should be like a Burning Man.
Yeah.
Where it's like, we're going to do this. You're not going to be able to get as close this time. We're going to put up like plexiglass barriers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think there's a way to do this safe.
And I feel like with 50 years of knowledge in explosives, that I think they might be able to do a better job this time.
Yeah.
I think they need to. They need to prove that they can do it.
I'm reading a book right now about the history of like nuclear power and whatnot. And yeah, the first couple of years, kind of didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
Shot in the dark.
A lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
But gradually they got a lot better at it.
They should make it a thing where they see how far they can launch it out to sea.
Yeah. They should have a contest. Come up with exactly how a local contest. Design the bomb that's going to blow up this whale.
Yeah. Fun.
Anyways, here's KATU, the same outlet that reported on it originally.
Woo!
The dead humpback whale that washed up in Nehalem State Park after it was hit and killed by a boat will not be blown up, Oregon State Parks has clarified. History isn't repeating itself, the agency says. OSP says that a recent social media post making the rounds was claiming that they were going to blow up the beached whale later in June. This rumor was likely a reference to the infamous exploding whale from 1970,
you think?
an incident that achieved worldwide notoriety after it was filmed and reported on by KATU.
I love to think that at the state park office, there's just some old guy.
Come on, let me do it.
No,
Put me back in.
No, I feel like they're coming up with another battle plan, and he's sitting in the corner, and he puts his hat up, and he goes, "Now you want to be careful here.
Did somebody say beached whale?
I've been through this before." He's just having flashbacks. Yeah. So unfortunately, they're gonna just let this poor dead whale's carcass rot there on the beach instead of doing a modern twist on a classic. I mean, come on.
The world loves a reboot.
Get Evel Knievel's son to jump it or something.
While it's exploding.
Yes. There you go. It is unfortunate because surely enough time has passed and enough lessons were learned the first time to just try. Just give it a shot.
Yeah. You know how much dynamite's just sitting around not being used?
Mm-hmm. Just make everyone park further away this time. I mean, you've already done the experiment. You know how far the blubber's gonna go.
Yeah. There's got to be a better. First of all, this was just a bunch of highway patrolmen.
Yeah.
These weren't demolition experts. And so, even just the placement of the dynamite, they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. And it was the 70s. They were probably drunk. They were probably blind drunk while they did this whole
they were
thing.
High. They were drunk. It was a wild time.
Yeah.
They were like, I messed around with a couple explosives when I was over at NAM. Let me get a shot at this thing.
Yeah. No, I feel like today, with all the knowledge we have, with the people around today who didn't grow up huffing leaded gasoline their entire lives,
could be different.
I feel like it could be done.
You know what would be good, though? Make it somebody else's problem. Get a trebuchet. Send that bitch over to Washington State.
I mean, that'd have to be a big fucking trebuchet.
Hey, we don't build anything anymore, you know?
This whale is thousands and thousands of pounds.
We used to build very big things for no reason in this country, and I say it's time to go back to that. We used to have a dinosaur that ate cars.
Yeah.
Why not a dinosaur that eats whales? Anyways, we do have more news from the animal kingdom.
Oh, good.
Plenty of wild animals are vicious towards humans.
Not orcas.
But the animal that's most vicious, while seeming at first glance like it wouldn't be, is probably the goose. But much like with the whale, you learn once.
Yeah.
You learn to stay away.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of just big ducks, and they are very pretty.
Yeah.
You want to touch them.
Honk.
Yeah.
How much trouble could they really be?
And
they let them live at the park.
Many people didn't know until that Untitled Goose Game.
Mm-hmm.
Wait till they get a hold of a knife.
Yeah.
So they actually are a lot of trouble. They are a hell of a lot of trouble if you don't keep your distance. They don't give a shit that you're 10 times bigger than them. They will pick a fight with you if they think that you are encroaching on their territory.
Yeah, I found a video today. It's a great YouTube rabbit hole of just goose attack.
Yeah.
I saw one of people in it looked like people inside of an office building, filming a guy walking into work, and they're like, oh shit, it's gonna happen. He crosses paths with this goose, and he gets into a full-on 5-minute just fight with this goose, and the whole time they're cracking up. It's infectious laughter.
Yeah.
But it's also just run away. Why are you standing and fighting? The goose will never give up.
Froze up. Oh, God.
Yeah. He's swinging his fucking briefcase at it.
Speaking of right now, great entertainment. They just had a bunch of goose babies at Echo Park Lake, so they are very defensive right now. Yeah, it is a crazy scene because people, they don't know sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, cute.
No, their kids are running around.
Oh, no. Yeah, and this is you see baby ducks, and ducks don't want any trouble. They'll just start walking faster.
Yeah.
But geese, they will defend.
Yeah, they want a fight.
They have a concept of castle doctrine in which the whole world is their castle.
It is built into them. They are built different.
So yeah, the goose actually possesses all of the ideal qualities that you'd want in a guard animal.
We should domesticate them.
We mostly associate dogs with that kind of job, but geese have at times throughout history been used as a first line of defense.
Okay.
And now, down in Brazil, a prison has decided to replace all of their guard dogs with geese. Here's the Wall Street Journal.
This has to, like, they're like, hey, you know how birds are really mean to Jair Bolsonaro? What if we use that?
That might be where they got the idea.
Yeah, well, here's the Wall Street Journal.
Fiercely territorial, the fiendish 9-pounders can be surprisingly intimidating, charging at anyone who dares enter their enclosure and unleashing a deafening cacophony of honks and shrieks that serves to alert guards if one of the prison's 1,300 inmates tries to escape. Their canine predecessors napped all the time and proved too expensive, says the prison's director, Marcos Souza. The Belgian Malinois that used to roam the prison's 3,000-foot-long perimeter wall cost $7,000 each, ate fancy dog food, and racked up a small fortune in vet bills, he said. The geese are happy with rice, and they never get sick, Susan explained. Prison officers first got the idea a few years ago when they were cornered by a gaggle of angry geese during a barbecue. Like in many of Brazil's underfunded jails, the prison's then director was struggling to make ends meet and agreed to give them a shot at patrolling the grounds.
Did they give them a badge?
They should.
A badge and a little hat? I love it. I mean, I'm sure Brazil's prisons are hell on earth, but
yeah,
I would say maybe it might lift the spirits a little bit.
I don't know. It sounds like it might do the opposite because these things are a terror.
Yeah, and the honking. The honking, you'll have nightmares.
Hey! They've got like all geese have like they got like the road rage gene. They act exactly like someone who gets into a road rage incident.
Yeah.
Just completely irrational. So you don't have to do this. You have wings. You can just fly away.
Nope.
No, I will stay here and fight.
Local farmers already use geese in the region to ward off intruders, a tradition that goes back to Roman times when, as legend has it, geese took on the role of sentinels, sounding the alarm when Gallic warriors invaded about 390 BC, saving Rome. But it turns out that geese offer another big advantage for Brazil's prisons. They can't be bribed. While dogs may be won over with a juicy steak and prison guards with a wad of cash, it's impossible to befriend a goose. They hate everyone, says Sousa. As one of the most vicious geese agents, Tweety sidles up to him before charging at the beefy cop. Neck outstretched and hissing, Tweety quickly forces the prison director out of their enclosure. They have zero loyalty, even to the people who feed them every single day, he says.
Those are the most hateful creatures on earth.
They're gonna end up taping like batons to their wings. When they put their wings out like that, they're even more intimidating.
Yeah, I mean, and they also like one of their attacks, one of their signature moves is they fly up and then like smack you on both sides of the head to throw off your equilibrium.
Yeah, if you're on the ground, they'll do it
You
too.
attach batons to the tips of their wings.
That's
oh my
it.
God, you're going down.
And another way that they're saving money is that the prisoners are the ones tasked with taking care of the geese, which apparently is one of the most hated prison jobs you can get assigned to. There is white shit everywhere. Just
all right. We got Dominguez. You're on slop duty. Santos, you're cleaning the toilets, and you're on goose duty.
Hey, what the hell did I do? One inmate serving a 20-year sentence for murder and robbery recalled the time they all randomly attacked him out of nowhere while he was doing maintenance work on their enclosure because they knew.
Yeah, this man fucking killed someone.
Yeah,
he is terrified to get in there with the geese.
Yeah.
So I think this is a great idea. It's brilliant. Dogs have had it too easy for too long.
Maybe that's why Echo Park, they don't have one of those robot cops. They just have geese.
Well, they also like, and this is like a pretty common thing with lake parks, is they have their own little island that has a locked door.
Yeah. Also, I could be completely wrong. I feel like geese are migratory, right? But like because of the climate, like they're just not making the migration anymore.
Oh, could be. I think that's probably happening with a lot of natural things.
Also, side note, and I have no idea how much this actually affects the training of the dogs, but there was a recent expose about how the LAPD gets their German Shepherds from a farm and training center that is literally named after one of Hitler's residences. So, just something interesting. So the geese don't have anything. No German blood. in these Geese. Just
No,
Canadian.
No, yeah.
You would think that they'd be so nice.
No.
Yes.
Not Canada.
They don't even say sorry when they smack you with their necks.
No apologies. And no friends. So yeah, guard geese definitely sounds like a great addition to your home security arsenal, provided that you never plan to actually ever leave your home. Because homeowner or intruder, once you're in geese territory, you are a target.
That's right.
So you put the geese in the front yard, you stay in the house, you never leave. Or
like
you put on like a riot shield just to go to your car.
It's like that lady who became the victim of the California condor was specifically targeting her house.
Well, she couldn't do anything about that because they are a highly protected species and they're all like geotagged. And their rights trample yours.
Sorry, lady.
If California condors decide that your roof is where they're going to hang out for a little while, you got to let them. Your hands are tied. They're going to be shitting everywhere, puking everywhere. You just got to let it happen.
Puking up roadkill, and that's your problem.
You just have to accept that the magic of seeing one of the rarest birds in the world does have some trade-offs.
But what of you?
So yeah, probably better for prisons than for your average homeowner. Geese. Prisons, it makes sense. Plus, postal workers already have it hard enough as it is, just with dogs. Imagine geese. And it's bad enough that this week, the United States Postal Service kicked off National Dog Bite Awareness Week to shine a light on what has always been one of the more serious hazards of the job. The campaign mostly involves tips for, just obvious tips for dog owners to keep them from attacking letter carriers, which it can be very expensive for the owner. The insurance money, it's a lot.
Yeah, fucking put your dog down, too.
That, too. And also a reminder that they log all of their dog incidents and can deem a residence too dangerous to deliver mail to, which will result in you having to rent a P.O. box and pick up your mail at the post office. Not fun.
Yeah. Well, they also include a ranking of the worst cities for dog attacks on postal workers in 2023. And folks, nobody does it like us. LA, Los Angeles is number one.
We've all got that Ohtani spirit.
That's right. LA had 65 attacks last year, followed by Houston with 56, Chicago with 48, St. Louis with 46, and Cleveland with 44. And going further down the list, we've got San Diego, Dallas, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, and Columbus. Ranked by state, California, of course, comes out at number one.
Woo!
Followed by Texas, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, New York, Florida, North Carolina, Michigan, and Missouri. The problem with these rankings, though, is they're not per capita. LA is the second most populated city in the country behind New York City, where a lot fewer people have yards for dogs to run around in. So, of course, just by population, we would be number one. The cities in the top 10, like St. Louis, Cleveland, and Cincinnati, each have less than 1/10 of our population.
Yeah, it's in the hundreds of thousands.
So, technically a little more dangerous, I believe, based on the numbers.
Actually, a lot more dangerous, because when you bust out your calculator, you do the math, which I did, St. Louis is by far the dog bites mailman capital of the United States. It's not even fucking close. They have nearly 10 times the dog bites per capita than Los Angeles. And when you do the same thing, the same mathematics with the states, Missouri and Ohio, they have around double the dog bite incidents of the other top 8 states. So, not guilty.
Never apologize.
Yeah. So yeah, people in LA and everywhere else, everyone should definitely do better at keeping your dogs from attacking letter carriers. But also, Missouri and Ohio, they really got to get their shit together. What the hell is going on?
Yeah, I feel like that number is very low for LA because a lot of LA's mail delivery just goes to a giant block of metal mailboxes and they just do it all at once. And the people who do own homes typically keep everything out.
That's right, because city of LA has I think 3.5 million people. And I'd say probably at least half of those people either live in apartments or have their mailbox accessible from the street.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, 56 for a city of, and if you count the county, that's 10 million. But it's, that's, I think we're doing okay.
Yeah. But Missouri and Ohio.
And I love our mail carriers. I salute them. They're always very nice.
Yeah.
They're always, it's a job that I would like to do if they just walk around and listen to music and deliver the mail.
It seems like a great life.
Yeah, you get some exercise in.
Every letter carrier I've ever seen, their fucking calves are just so well defined.
Yeah.
Great calves.
Gotta love those calves.
Anyway, moving on now to one more thing before the headlines half of the show. At this point, you've probably already seen it, but at a time when the U.S. Congress increasingly seems like one big, really bad joke, this week we got yet another example of this when Republican Representative John Rose got up on the mic to just rant about Donald Trump's felony conviction. And for some fucking reason, he had his 6-year-old son sit right behind him while he spoke.
Well, school's out, and you know how expensive childcare is, and we refuse to do anything about that, so gotta bring him.
There you go.
Using the justice system to engage in a politically driven prosecution and now conviction of a major political party nominee running for president, especially on the charges brought against Donald Trump, should gravely concern every member of this body as well as every American across our country, whether they be Republican or Democrat, for Donald Trump or against him. Regardless of one's opinion of the current Republican nominee, we'd be well served to remember the long and cherished tradition we have in this country of settling our political differences at the ballot box. For nearly 2.5 centuries, our nation's elected leaders have properly resisted the temptation to oppose their political rivals through the weaponization of our justice system. Equal justice for all. And an overall trust in our justice system is fundamental to who we are.
So yeah, I mean, I think that kid sums up how a lot of us feel about the whole situation, but particularly about getting, again, New York State, not the federal government.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to get into the headlines after the show. Remember to click the join button. No sponsor this week. We will be, next week we have sponsors again.
Oh my God.
And yeah, glad to have them back. Remember, you don't have to purchase anything.
Yeah, we got a little desperate. We are sponsored by Armalite, manufacturers of we AR-15. Now with the AR-16 coming this summer.
It is not that, but yeah, it's we got some ads coming up, so just we're excited for it. But in the meantime, if you feeling frisky, hit the join button.
That would be really cool if you did.
Now we can get into the weirdest, craziest, wildest headlines from around the world this week, starting with
water bottles banned from RNC security perimeter. AR-15's allowed.
Oh, perfect. They should watch the show and get the sponsor code.
Yeah. Get your own AR-15.
Code internet today.
Code weird. It's like Wisconsin's such a fascinating state. So they're doing the RNC in Milwaukee, and like Wisconsin, for the longest time, like Republicans basically like stole control of the state through trickery, and like it just got undone in like the last couple of years. But yeah, they have like some very permissive gun laws there. And it's like you literally can't make any area like a gun-free zone. So yeah, like the area outside of the actual RNC, like which is like a whole area downtown or whatever, you will be allowed to walk around with a loaded AR-15.
The Freedom Zone.
And but if they catch you with a reusable water bottle, buddy, you're going to jail.
Yeah. Well, if the guns don't get you, the cheese curds will.
Yeah.
Clogged arteries do kill more people than guns.
It is wild to like open carry or concealed carry even in a state where everyone is fucking drunk 24/7.
We love our viewers in Wisconsin.
No, it's a great place. I really want to visit Madison, but
we should make the pilgrimage to like, Summerfest one year over in Milwaukee.
The stats don't lie. It's the drunkest state in the country. It's not even fucking close.
I'm sure they're proud of that fact. Let us know in the comments.
I think they probably are. It gets cold there. I get it.
Yeah.
Half the year there's nothing to fucking do. The winter is brutal. Summer is brutal.
You get like a little
You got
pocket.
a coat.
Yeah. Florida man allegedly claims to be Mr. Monopoly with birth date of 4/20/69 during arrest. I'm the Monopoly guy.
I'm Mr. Monopoly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I figured this would be someone getting pulled over. No, he got caught like tagging a bunch of walls and stuff. And they like literally caught him in the act.
Is he street artist Alec Monopoly?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, but no, he's not. Also, I fucking hate that shit.
I do too. And it is so odd when I see it in galleries. I'm just like, does anyone like this? Who's buying this? Rich people with bad taste?
It's literally, you ever see that Instagram account of that like art gallery in Amsterdam that just has like, all of their art is designed to appeal to like new money dipshits who like just spend their whole day like trading Bitcoin, going to the gym and listening to Joe Rogan. And it's all just like the most tasteless garbage you've ever seen. Half of it is like literally just like movie characters. It's like Scarface art.
Yeah.
And Alec Monopoly like fits right in there. It's cool. It has dollar signs, and I like making money.
Yeah,
so.
there's Richie Rich. There's a Monopoly guy. Good for him, I guess. If it sells, it sells. But just not for me, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fish fan permanently banned from the Sphere after posting first bong rip at the venue.
Buddy, I think they're going to have a lot more problems if they start digging into the drugs people are doing at the Sphere, considering the two biggest concerts there so far, aside from U2, have been Fish and the Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
What are all these CO2 cartridges doing all over the ground? Huh?
I think in this case, guy literally, first of all, how do you get a fucking
nitrous or whatever?
How do you get a glass bong through security?
Very carefully.
That's very impressive.
Yeah.
But he fucking documented it, put it all over social media, and they're just like, okay, we can't just pretend this didn't happen.
I love that when he talked about it, he said they gave him a
plaque to put on his wall.
and it's just you've been banned from the properties.
Yeah, not just the Sphere. He's banned from Madison Square Garden, Radio City Music Hall, just a bunch of places you'd probably never fucking go to.
Damn, now he'll never get to see the Rockettes.
Yeah, damn. Byron Donalds, Trump VP contender, suggests Jim Crow era had an upside.
This is the guy from Florida, right?
Yeah.
And I believe he did get called out.
So it's it's the same thing that happened with Kristi Noem, where all of his VP contenders, they're letting their mouths run, and they're putting themselves in a position where Trump, he's just I can't pick you as my running mate.
This is too much even for me.
Yeah, he basically made the case that black people were better off during Jim Crow in a lot of ways, which is just an insane thing to say.
If I remember correctly, he was called out immediately because he is in an interracial marriage.
Yeah, that's the other thing. They're that would literally not be legal during Jim Crow era. So he even on Fox News, they're just okay, but you were exaggerating, right?
We're gonna give you a little more time to clarify what you're saying, right? Because you couldn't mean what you're actually saying, right?
And in a similar vein, Eric Trump tells Fox News the black vote is swinging over to Donald Trump in spades.
Buddy.
In spades.
Buddy.
I mean, I'm listen, he's probably too young to have heard that specific antiquated slur all that much.
It's a weird thing to say.
But then I remember his dad is Donald Trump, and his grandfather is, I can't remember, Donald Trump's dad. Mm-hmm. Both of them, literally were doing racism back in the 60s and 70s. He has definitely heard spade and many, many worse slurs about black people.
It's like he intuitively goes to the racist thing. He's inadvertently racist.
They're swinging over to Donald Trump in spades.
He can't help himself.
This whole thing is funny because there's.
He also had the slip up. It was Eric that had the slip up before the sentencing, or not before the sentencing, before the convictions came down, where he's like, "We're gonna get away with it because we're white." He meant to say right.
That is funny.
Yeah,
I didn't see that. But they're really, there is a phenomenon of more and more non-white people sort of swinging Republican. I'd say it mostly has to do with Joe Biden being a uniquely bad president and bad communicator, less about Trump himself. But it's still, in the grand scheme of things, it is a blip. They really think Trump picking a black VP is oh man, they're all gonna vote for Trump because they love him because he does crimes. And black people do crimes.
It is crazy that they've been going with that.
They love him.
Because the first time that they said
he's just like us. He breaks the law all the time.
Yeah, and they and they got kind of in trouble for when that guy was talking about how Trump selling premium sneakers was good for the black community, and then and then the mugshot, all this stuff, and they keep getting called out for it, and they're like, nah, actually, this is great. We're gonna keep going with this. Definitely doesn't make us seem extremely racist.
Yeah, if you fall for this shit, you are a fucking rube. That's all I'll say.
Catholic priest keeps job after reportedly claiming Jesus died with an erection.
He did, though. I don't know why this priest brought this up during a sermon of all things, but he correctly pointed out.
I didn't know that.
No, when you die, especially if you're upright.
Oh, rigor mortis?
The blood rushes downwards, and you get
that loincloth lifted right up.
There's a picture. I think it was Lee Harvey Oswald, I think. But just John Dillinger. John Dillinger covered with a sheet being wheeled into the hospital. into the morgue or whatever, and just like massive dong sticking up.
Damn.
So yeah, Jesus, he absolutely got rock hard up there on the cross when he expired. There's nothing wrong with it. God made him that way.
Well,
But probably not the best thing to just bring up in church. I don't know what the larger point he was trying to make was, but I guess people found it a bit shocking and lewd and crass.
When he came back 3 days later, was he still hard? Did he have to go see a doctor?
I don't know.
Sir, you've been hard for far too long. You gotta... that wasn't the only rock he came out from
How do you think he opened that rock?
With the skeleton key.
Yeah.
Yeah. Italian village with 46 residents has 30 local election candidates.
I love this because that means there's like 16 people who will swing. Like the people who aren't running and are just voting,
they're going to get pandered to
every time they leave their house. They probably got like half the town waiting outside.
Gifts.
So, can I have your vote?
I don't know. I'm undecided.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool to be the swing vote.
Yeah.
I mean, then I imagine the government of a town of this size doesn't really have a whole lot of things.
It would be awesome if out of 30 humans, like a one golden retriever won.
Yeah, that's the thing. You let a dog run, race is over.
Everyone's going to vote for
Everyone's
the dog.
Gonna
Even
vote
the people
for the
who
dog.
are running are going to vote for the dog. It's got a little tie on.
Yeah, the dog can't govern, but great in pictures.
But that could also be a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's try it.
Uh-huh.
Eau Claire police seek a brisket thief who stole 12 pounds of smoked deliciousness in middle of night. And yeah, this is a crime. This man should be executed.
Okay, Laura Loomer.
This man should be, cut. But no, they got it on like security camera. And if you want to do brisket right, you often have to
keep an eye on it.
You got to slow cook it overnight.
Yeah.
At very low, slow and low overnight. Because if properly cooked brisket takes like 18 hours.
Yeah.
There's simply no way you're going to, at some point, have to go to bed.
This criminal...
And this guy, he smelled it.
He floated over.
He floated over. And he just took the whole brisket out and took it home. Now, what sucks even most about this is that brisket wasn't done.
No, he has to finish it now.
Was he going to take it home to his own grill and finish it off? Because otherwise, what a waste.
Yeah.
No one gets to enjoy brisket.
Damn. And you can't leave a pie on the windowsill anymore either because of the woke.
You can't. Yeah, I sent this to our friend who recently got obsessed with grilling. You got to be careful out there.
Yeah. Smell travels.
Maybe get a couple geese to guard your barbecue.
I mean, especially in this area, like I wouldn't be surprised if some coyotes tried to get into it.
Yeah, actually.
You got to get a lock for that grill. Like Traeger and other companies, the high-end stuff should start putting locks on the grill.
Electric shocks.
Yeah. You have to unlock it with your phone. Bloop, bloop.
Yeah, can never be too safe.
Or one crafty geese.
Mm-hmm.
Goose.
One crafty geese.
Yeah. A United plane had to be taken out of service and deep cleaned after dozens of passengers flying home from a cruise started throwing up.
No! The two most disgusting and problem-prone modes of travel, cruise ships and airplanes, are teaming up for the ultimate in disgusting things that can happen while traveling.
Yeah, we have the other option where they do literally combine both forms of travel in a beautiful dirigible. A big blimp.
We need to bring them back.
Yeah, a Zeppelin.
I brought this up before. There's only like 6 dirigibles in the world.
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
You get to go up in the sky and move as slow as a boat.
Yeah, but the view is great.
Yeah.
Because you're only flying at like 10,000 feet.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess a bunch of people, as happens with cruises, as we've all learned, if one person on a cruise gets sick, buddy, everyone's getting sick.
Yep.
And
all it takes is that shrimp cocktail sitting out in the sun a little too long and
you're in international waters.
Yeah.
There's no OSHA. There's no health department.
Mm-mm.
A bunch of people on a cruise. The cruise ended, got on the flight home, and just puked fucking everywhere.
Damn.
Like dozens, like 25 people throwing up on one flight. Can you imagine just the smell?
We got to hurry up with the trains because flying is getting so bad, especially with, and as a result of climate change, the turbulence situation where it fucking happened. Someone died from turbulence finally.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
How?
They got, everyone in this plane was thrown around. I think this person hit their head hard enough to where they actually fucking died.
That's why I have my seatbelt on at all times.
That's what you should have your seatbelt on always. But
ever since I heard a story of the side panel of a plane getting ripped off mid-flight and someone surviving specifically because they were seatbelted in, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
But now this one too. I'm putting that belt on.
I don't like turbulence, but there's more and more stories all the time. Makes me extremely nervous. So
They were, in this article, they talk about, there was, I guess, a flight back in the 70s in Japan where like 100 people all got, the food they were serving on the plane had some like bacteria in it that gave everyone on the flight food poisoning. The entire plane was puking and shitting.
You know, there was one vegetarian person on the plane who was like, I ordered I'm the one person who got the vegetarian option.
I mean, don't gloat too much. You are still on the plane with 100 people puking and shitting around you.
Speaking of turbulence, that flight to Japan, the last 2 hours of that flight are historically very bad. And I thought I was going to die.
Maybe someday I'll find out.
Mm-hmm.
And final headline, Columbia Law Review refused to take down article on Palestine. So its board of directors nuked the whole website.
Wow. Everything operating normally.
And like Columbia Law Review, I looked at the actual article. It is a like 100-page, extremely fucking dry, like legal analysis. Like this is not, and written by an actual like legal scholar. It's not for public consumption. No one would have even fucking known about this if they hadn't Streisand affected the whole thing by literally like shutting down the website, where if you went to it, it was just like 404 error. So great job. Great job, Columbia University, you fucks.
Way to go.
Really shown your true colors this year. It's especially funny because like so many people online have commented who've like attended Columbia in the past. They're like, yeah, orientation, like the campus, like everywhere on campus, they have like pictures and plaques and stuff of just like, yeah, those 1968 protesters, like,
we love them.
They pretty much ended that war in Vietnam. And yeah, they cracked down hard on them, but they were right.
We learned
they were right to protest, and we're so much better now.
Anyways, that's it for Weekly Weird News. We do have some videos popping up we'll tell you about in just a second, but first, make sure you click the like button. It's what helps the channel grow.
Please.
Also, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Leave a comment below. Tell us if you're a drunk from Wisconsin or if you're a dog bite from Ohio.
Yeah.
Now the episodes are popping up. Folks, a very isolated tribe in the Amazon has been given internet access.
And now they're all gooners.
And it seems like it's not playing out very well. That's the main story on News Dump. We also have some tech news for you. Please check out those videos. Leave a like, and we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.